Welcome to the Insomnia Project. Sit back, relax, and listen as we have a calm conversation that's meant to help you drift off to sleep. I'm your host, Marco Timpano.
I'm Amanda Barker. Are you holding your breath a little bit?
A little bit.
Oh, I feel bad.
Why?
Well, I want you to breathe.
I'm trying to breathe, but I realize that I don't have water, so I'm just trying to regulate my breath. Thank you.
I'm going to give you water. It's going to make a jiggly sound. It has your sister's thing that she gave us in it.
Okay.
So it's a little bit
her
sweet.
gin?
No, it's called Instant IV.
Oh. And what's that good for?
I think it's electrolytes. I think it's
Oh,
just to hydrate you. But she said, if you're thirsty all the time, which I have been, and if you have headaches and stuff and you're feeling dehydrated, that's take one of those and it'll hydrate you better, apparently.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And I have a headache. I've had a headache for most of today, and I think I've been dehydrated. So
I see.
That I would boost my water intake somehow.
Well, if you have a headache, you're not alone, folks. Thanks for joining us. We sympathize with you.
I hope we are not your headache.
Yes, and no doubt. Amanda, you colored your hair from last week. We mentioned that you were going to color your hair with that $3 box of on sale color.
So here's the thing about the $3 box.
Yeah.
I realized when I opened it up, it's a really high-end British product.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it it's actually quite great because it's a very environmental box of hair dye. They print all of the instructions on the inside of the box so that there's no paper wastage.
Oh, that's great.
And the 2 plastic containers that you have to mix the dye with, both of them are recycled, and they say, one says, I used to be a yogurt container.
Oh, my goodness.
And then the other is like, I used to be a lip gloss pot or something like that. I can't remember, but anyway, yeah, they're both like fully recycled plastic, post-consumer recycled. And there's no ammonia in it. So I don't know. How does it look? I mean, it's still a little wet.
I think it looks good.
Yeah?
Yeah. I hope it works out. It makes me sad because I could have bought more. I think I only bought a couple, but you
don't
never know.
And then you're ending up with a bunch of them. So
yeah, and if they didn't work out, then you'd be like, now I have this stuff to deal with. So
yeah.
hopefully it works. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, see what color my hair. Once the sun hits it, maybe it turns a weird reddy color. But I think it's okay, right?
I think it looks good. Yeah, sure.
Just doing the roots.
And what do you have any prep that you do before you color your hair?
Well, here's the thing. We're going to get deep into it. I'm really, I don't know if I would use the word addicted, but I'm very reliant these days and quite love and enjoy using and maybe obsessed with that spray root dye stuff, like the instant stuff. There's a bunch of companies that make them. There's like 3 or 4 on the market.
Batiste, I think, is the one you use.
No.
No,
you're talking about dry shampoo.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's dry shampoo. That's another end of the spectrum. No, what I'm talking about is it's instant root touch-up.
Okay.
But I like it as well for a few reasons. One,
it's instant.
Well, yeah, but even if I don't have roots showing, I tend to use it because I fill in where my hair is a bit thinner on the edges here.
I see. Okay.
Sort of at the, that thinning sort of part. I've always had it. I had it when I was a little kid. It's just a part where the hair is thinner and my hair usually curls up there.
So you're spray painting your head is what you're doing.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Filling in the gaps. And I also like it because when we do auditions, which are all, mostly, well, not all, but the auditions that we do at home, which is a big bulk of our auditioning life, just the way the lights are that we have, sometimes they shine on the top of my head. And anyways, it doesn't look great, or it looks like gray even when it's not gray. It's just a bit of reflection. So when I spray that stuff, it dulls it so there's no shine.
Okay.
So my hair looks thicker and fuller, and there's more color just from spraying the color in. Yeah, I know. Listen, I'm not saying it's glamorous or even advisable. I'm just saying that's what I use.
Okay.
But in terms of your question, to prep my hair for dyeing, the thing is I always have a bit of that spray stuff in my hair. So I really have to, and I don't always succeed, but I really have to try and get it out so that because I can't dye the roots
If it's covered.
If it's covered with this spray stuff.
I'm sure, of course.
So it's a 2-wash process. That's why when I was dyeing my hair, I had to wash my hair, dry it,
and then
dye it, and
okay.
then wash the dye out, and then dry it again. So so it takes longer. Now I have just, and again, any people who are in the hair industry would not recommend any of the things I do, I'm sure, but whatever. I have just put dye over the spray dye. It doesn't work great, but sometimes it's like in a pinch and I'm
sure
have to be quick. It's fine. So
yeah, fair
depends
enough.
on how much is residual left in there. But anyway, yeah.
Wow.
And this box also had a charcoal shampoo that you were supposed to wash your hair with before you dyed it to get rid of all the toxins. But I didn't know that, and I had already washed my hair at that point.
Oh my goodness.
And dried it.
Wow, that sounds like, what's the name of this product?
I don't remember.
Okay, well.
British Harmony, I think it was called.
Harmony, okay.
It's like Harmony dye or something like that. It had like illustrations of women hugging each other in the front. Yeah, it's usually it's like a woman in her hair and you're like, that's the color I want. But this was like women dancing.
That's how I want to feel after I dye my hair.
Like watercolory women.
Okay.
Speaking of watercolors, our friend has a big art show.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Our friend in LA, Michelle Miracle, has an art show. She does a really unique and interesting art that I really love. It has a nostalgic feel to me. It kind of feels like mid-century modern, like something that would be in a home during that period. And it's watercolors, and it involves, I want to say tracing, but I know I'm not doing it justice. She does a really great job of outlining the watercolor effect, and it gives it this sort of impression of sometimes underwater, sometimes visions of nature through color. It really is so unique and pretty, and you could just stare at it. It's just so lovely. And what's funny is, Amanda, I had asked Michelle if I could put some on mugs and on T-shirts and stuff for our Patreons people, our high donors, let's say. And she so graciously said yes, and so I did do that. And so some people have actually seen her artwork.
She's at the Montrose Arts and Craft Festival now. I think that may have passed by the time we air this. But anyway, that was on June 7th and 8th. And yeah, she does all these festivals, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, you can follow her at Mishmash Art Stash, and I'll put that in our notes. And she's been on the podcast, and we talked about her artwork as well. So you can really.
She really seems to approach art as a way of dealing with the frustrated perfectionist inside herself.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, like, it doesn't have to be perfect, and maybe things are never done, but don't judge yourself. Just go for it and see what ends up on the canvas, which is really
awesome.
Nice. Yeah.
And she's not a Virgo like you.
I know. She is what is she? Is she a Pisces? No, she's a Taurus.
No, March, right?
Yeah, March 1st.
That's Pisces.
Pisces?
March.
No, Pisces is.
It's
yeah, she is a Pisces.
That's not Taurus. Taurus is May.
Yeah, she is a Pisces. That's our second Pisces friend.
No.
I don't know a lot about Pisces.
Do
you?
I can't remember Pisces so well.
Last night there were 3. We were watching The Tonight Show, which is not something we normally watch. But anyway, and both Jimmy Fallon and the 2 people on the couch realized that they were all Virgos.
Yeah.
Which I am. So, anyway, Tyler Perry was one of them.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I used to watch The Tonight Show when I was a kid, and Johnny Carson was the host.
Yeah, of course you did.
And I wanted to stay up so much to watch it, right?
Yeah.
And I thought he was funny. I don't know. As a kid, I think even if you didn't understand him.
But your parents would be laughing, right?
Right. And every once in a while you'd understand a joke. It would be like a very, dad-like joke. So as a child, you could understand it. And I would often be able to stay up, but then I would fall asleep after the monologue kind of thing.
Right.
Like it would,
Oh, poor little Marco
Yeah.
trying to stay up to watch The Tonight Show.
But I think a lot of, staying up to watch comedies when I was a kid really influenced me into comedies. I used to watch Benny Hill and Dick Allen at Large, which was...
What was that?
So it was... those shows were already old by the time I watched them as a kid, right? But you don't know that. And they were British shows back in the day where their style was very different to what we were used to watching with North American shows that we had access to, right? So Benny Hill, his style of humor and whatnot. But Dick Allen at Large was this comedian whose name was Dick Allen who would sit in a chair and smoke a cigarette and just tell stories. And I can't remember if he was Irish but he had just a way of telling funny stories.
Really?
And he would just sit in a chair and tell a funny story.
That was his whole show? Is I'm going to smoke and talk?
And they would be intercut with some sketches where he was...
How do I get this gig?
Where he was a vicar, and it would be
a vicar.
It would be a short little vicar sketch, or...
Why don't we say vicar over here? Like, why didn't that word cross the pond?
I don't know.
A vicar.
A vicar. He'd be a vicar, and he would tell a story, but it wasn't as like body as Benny Hill. It was more cerebral, let's say.
Okay.
Once again, this is through a 9-year-old's remembering
You
of it,
probably
right?
got it right, though.
But I'll show you some Dick Allen at Large. That sounds dirty, but I'll show you some. I'll show you some later on to see what you think of it. It just gets worse. Okay.
I the Virgo that I am, I make like a mental list, like tallies of words that we don't use in North America, or words that mean different things. And one that I hear a lot that always makes me laugh in British TV, and of course I watch a lot of home shows and renovation shows and things like that in England. But anyway, one is the word homely. Because over here, to call somebody, you would call someone or something homely, and it would mean ugly.
Or plain.
Very plain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either ugly or very, like, dowdy would be a synonym, maybe.
Sure. I don't think ugly. I just think plain.
Plain?
Yeah.
Like, if I said she's pretty homely,
yeah,
you wouldn't think she's good looking.
No, but I wouldn't think she was, or they, whoever, male or female, I wouldn't think that they were ugly. I just think they look very plain looking, very, you'd pass them, you'd walk right by them. You wouldn't even.
Oh, see, I don't think that. I think of homely as straight up not good looking.
Okay.
I wonder what the dictionary would say. But anyway, in the UK, they always say homely where we would say homey.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this is very homey, we would say.
I see.
They say that's very homely, which kind of makes more sense for the word, really, like a home, homely.
Right.
But for whatever reason, we say, oh, it's homey, but then homely has a totally different meaning. So it just always makes me laugh. That's one. Another one is to table something.
Oh, yeah, table something.
But Americans, because as Canadians, we go both ways in terms of British, right? So
yeah, we have a lot of British words we use, and we have a lot of North American words we use.
And so we say, like, we'll table that bill.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you?
We'll, put it aside and we'll work on it or whatever. We'll put a pin in it, kind of thing.
Okay, so that's the American version.
Okay.
Of it. To table it, let's table that. Like, it's become part of parlance in, working vernacular.
Sure. So what does it mean to table a bill?
Well, it means is to put it on the table and work through it in British Parliament, right? And Canadian government. I think they've got that right. Yeah.
Okay.
So you're tabling it. You're working through it. You're putting it in front of everybody on the table and saying, "Hey, look at this." Whereas to table it for American speak is, let's just table that for now. Let's just put it on the table and leave it there and work on something else.
I see.
I know, it's different, right? So like the opposite meaning, in fact, really.
Wow. Yeah. No, I didn't.
Like, let's put a pin in it.
Yeah. That's how I would.
That's the American version of that. Isn't that funny?
Yeah. Although I do say Chesterfield, so I don't.
Which is a brand, apparently, a British brand of couch.
That's right.
Or sofa.
Chesterfield.
Yeah, that's a... Remember we were in a workshop with an American person, and this guy kept talking about his Chesterfield, and she finally stopped and said, I'm sorry, I just don't know what you're talking about. What the heck is a Chesterfield? We all started laughing because he kept talking about his Chesterfield over and over, and she was like, I don't know what that is.
So great. I love it when that happens, where
Yeah.
you're talking about, because I remember one time we were with our American friends, actually with Michelle Miracle, the artist we just spoke of, and we were playing a game.
Who is very homey, but not homely.
No, the opposite.
In
fact.
the American sense, anyway.
She's a very attractive woman.
Yes.
Michelle Miracle. Okay, so.
Like you said that. She's a very attractive woman.
Well, I didn't want people to think she's homey or homely. So.
No, but she can make a beautiful home, but she is not, in your words, plain, or in mine, ugly.
Right. So we're playing this game with Michelle Miracle. And you had to, like, each letter of the alphabet, you had to come up with a word in that category. So I think it was clothing, and we had to go like in order or something. Yeah. And Amanda landed on the letter C. And so Amanda says...
chemise.
And then it comes to me to D, and I said something like denim. And we were going around, and then Michelle's like, hang on a second, hang on. What is chemise, and how are we letting that in? And so there was this really large chemise debate. And for people who don't know...
To be honest, it wasn't just her. It was you. You were the one who kept saying chemise. Because I remember you going, chemise, chemise. I remember you saying it. I think she was convinced. You were the one who were challenging me on this categories game.
But it was a French word. You can't use foreign French words for English categories.
My argument to this day is it is a French word that we use in English parlance. I'm just going to keep using the word parlance.
Sure.
Like, for example... we say croissant, which is a French word. I don't say, half moon pastry or whatever. Like, I call it a croissant.
When are you saying chemise? I don't hear people saying chemise. I hear blouse.
Okay, well, continue on with your story then. Cut to
A
few weeks ago.
And let's be honest, I was probably overplaying it, just like overplaying the chemise debate.
You went through a phase where you really thought it was funny to like make fun of me or something.
Did I?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very nice.
Some people call it bullying.
That doesn't sound
like, chemise.
That doesn't sound very nice.
Well, you like to roast.
It's true. So the chemise debate, and so after that,
the great chemise debate of 2007. Let's be honest, of July 2007.
And Miracle to this day will say chemise, right? Like she'll say it as a joke or whatnot.
My chemise, yeah.
So we're watching television, and of course, Amanda and I watch a lot of the shopping channel
and British shows. All we do is watch TV. That seems like all we talk about.
It's so funny because now we know a lot of British celebs that are not celebs here.
Alan Carr, for example.
Alan Carr with that show with Amanda
and Alan's Italian Adventure.
Really enjoying it. Amanda
Brilliant.
Holden is her name? Is it
I
Holden?
don't know. Yeah.
She's a singer or something. She's on not The Voice, but the British.
Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah, something like that. And so we're watching the shopping channel. And of course, there's someone who's talking about sleepwear, was it?
Well, they had blouses, and they were like, now let's show you the chemise. And they must have said it a million times. This chemise and that chemise, and this is not a robe. This is a chemise, over and over and over. And I taped it and sent it to Michelle.
There's a lot of chemise talk.
A lot of chemise happening. I looked up homely.
Okay.
The first definition is North American, a person unattractive in appearance.
Okay.
So I think I was more right. And then second, British, of a place or surrounding simple but cozy and comfortable as in one's home.
Okay.
Yeah. We should look up Table of Bill.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, well, look at what you're learning today.
A lot of lexicon, a lot of Britishism versus Americanism. While Amanda's looking that up, I'm just going to say thank you to all our listeners in the UK. We have listeners in the UK. I love hearing from them. Of course, we have listeners in Canada, in the United States. I want to say hi to all of you. Australia, Bahrain, India. We have listeners all over the world. Feel free to give us a shout out on Instagram, and we'll be sure to mention the country that you listen from, because I know there's a lot of listeners from all over the world.
So this is interesting. I see what happened with the expression to table something.
Mm-hmm.
So it does mean to formally present a bill for consideration, but it can also mean to postpone discussion for a later time, which
Right.
is the North American, because this is often done when there's not enough time or consensus to debate a bill fully at the current moment. So we think of it as table a bill, bring the bill forward.
Right.
But as in most bills, things do get postponed and delayed. So
Sure.
that's where the American version, I think, comes in.
Wow.
Yeah, interesting, right?
Yeah, very interesting.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other words that have two different meanings. Crikey.
Crikey, yeah.
We
The
just
one
don't
guy
say
says
that
crikey a lot. Yeah, we should say crikey.
Crikey.
I feel like that's associated with Australians.
You know what word comes up in weird places is reckon. Because you could say it in the southern U.S., I reckon you do this and I
Sure.
reckon that. I mean, they don't say it a lot, but they used to. But then the Brits say that one a lot.
Hmm.
I reckon this and I reckon that.
And I never say it. I would never
We
say
would
reckon.
never
No,
say the word
that's
reckon.
not. There's certain words that would never come to mind in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Same in Italian. There's not an expression, but an article that you could use, in cui.
Right.
But I never
Like
use in
purtroppo.
Purtroppo, yeah.
Purtroppo.
Yeah, no. There's in cui or che, and I always revert to che. I don't know why. I just
Sure.
think it's easier. It just comes out of my mouth quicker or easier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of words like that in English. Do I say anything that strikes you as British or whatnot? More British?
Serviette. You always say serviette.
Of course.
Give me which I would say napkin. Canadians always say cutlery.
Cutlery, yeah, I say cutlery.
Whereas Americans, for whatever reason, we say silverware. Like
Mhm.
I would, growing up, I would even say the plastic silverware.
Oh, wow.
I know, which doesn't make any sense when you actually stop and think about it. But I would call what you and I call cutlery. Growing up, I would always call it the silverware.
Mhm.
One thing that came up not too long ago, and we might have talked about it on the show, but I had a friend who was trying to figure out what cocoa was.
Oh, cocoa.
And it made me think about it because we were just helping our niece with an audition, and I knew it was American because she was saying cocoa or everybody grab some cocoa.
Right.
So, but here we would call it hot chocolate.
Right.
Yeah. But it's the same thing. And sometimes Americans would call it hot chocolate, but much more often we would call it cocoa. Like cotton candy, candy floss.
See, to me, cocoa is more like chocolate.
But it's
like,
not, it's honestly the exact same thing as hot chocolate.
Right, right. But I see cocoa as something you use to cook with versus to...
Well, cocoa powder is what you're thinking.
Right.
But cocoa, a cup of warm cocoa is what you would think of as a cup of hot chocolate.
One of my favorite wrestlers was Coco Beware.
One of mine was hot chocolate, stay back.
Oh, my goodness.
Not really. Although that would be a great wrestling name.
So funny. Did you watch wrestling as a kid?
Nope.
Oh.
I stayed as far away as I could from it. I didn't understand why anybody would watch it. And my dad, every now and then on a Saturday, would have it on. And I'd be like, why? Why?
I would watch it because the characters were so fascinating and interesting. Like one guy had a snake. His name was Jake the Snake Roberts.
But I don't.
As a kid-
It's lost on me. As a
Fair.
kid, it was lost on me. I'd be like, watch a movie then. There's great characters in TV shows. Why are you watching people fight? I don't know. Wrestling is. I don't think I was the demo,
Sure. Sure.
and it never
Appealed to you.
not even close. Like it repelled me.
Okay. That's fair. That's
The
fair.
only part I liked about it was that it was used to be WWF, which was also the World Wildlife Federation. But finally, they became WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting too, right? That happened.
Well, the whole story behind all that is just
Oh, really?
fascinating. Yeah. Well, I think there's a podcast that if you're looking for an interesting podcast called what's it called a minute? It's the one from CBC where it's like the power of persuasion or like where they talk about ads and stuff.
Oh my gosh!
Help
If
me
you
out.
hadn't asked me,
Yeah.
Under
Under the Influence.
Under the Influence.
Under
Yeah.
the Influence with I can't remember the guy's
Terry
name.
O'Reilly.
There you go. And I think he
By
was...
the way, great podcast.
It's a great...
If you're still awake and listening, Terry O'Reilly is... that's a great podcast.
Yeah.
All about marketing. And I read his book, by the way.
It won't make you fall asleep, but it's interesting. How was his book?
It was great. It was like one long... I listened to it, so it was like one long version of the podcast or radio show.
Well, on one of the episodes, he was talking about WWF and how they retained that acronym over the Wrestling Federation.
It's so interesting.
It's so fascinating.
Yeah, because
right?
they were both big organizations with the same acronym, as it turns out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Remember Greenpeace?
I loved Greenpeace as a kid.
Did you?
Yeah, these boats.
Like 1989?
Saving whales.
That
and
was
stuff.
my whole, like, I just want to be on a Greenpeace boat.
Oh, no, I didn't want to do that, but I was
No?
I wanted to save the whales. I remember grade 2. I wanted to... I talked to the librarian about like making signs, save the whales, and doing a little march.
And did you do it?
No, and I had an idea on how to make the signs, but then I guess I didn't think about like, where am I going to march? I was going to march around the school with a sign and try to get people to march with me.
I love these ideas, these schemes you have as kids. I remember my sister and I think it was my sister and I, or my friend maybe, we decided we were going to paint all these rocks and then sell them.
Oh.
So we were probably about that age, about 7. So we painted these rocks and we were like, okay, rocks for sale. But it didn't really occur to us that in our backyard, we didn't really have foot traffic going through.
Sure.
Like in our mind, I didn't quite understand. You know, I lived on a pretty major road that didn't have sidewalks, right? It was, and very kind of wooden, but yet it was Route 98 was the name of the route. Anyway, like a pretty major thorough route off of the I-95. And so we didn't really, like, because I wasn't in a sort of more sheltered development, I didn't go out on that road very much.
Right.
So, but we had a backyard and we played in that. And so, here's another one. We would say backyard. You know what the Brits would call it? A garden.
A garden.
They'll call all of it is a garden. Whereas you and I would have like a flower garden or a vegetable garden.
Sure.
That's a garden. But a bunch of grass we would never call a garden.
Mm-hmm.
But at least if I'm to believe all these shows that I've watched for years, they always say, oh, look at the size of the garden. And you're like, there's no garden. It's just some grass. But they'll call it a garden. So anyway, so we had our garden, we had a garden and we had a backyard. And so on our back porch, we like laid all this out. We were like, rocks for sale. Like,
amazing.
And just sitting like waiting for people to come by. Like I think in our head, we thought that there'd be like a traveling salesman or something.
Listen.
Through the backyards. You hope not that there's not random strangers walking through. But we didn't quite figure out that that's not how that works. We just thought if you put something for sale, like people will come.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Well, listen, you could have been the precursor to the pet rock. That person who invented that or did that made a ton of money.
I always hear about the pet rock, but I don't ever really remember a pet rock.
I don't either, really.
Yeah, that's more of an under the influence thing. I'm sure Terry O'Reilly does a deep dive on the pet rock.
There you go. Well, listen, thank you for joining us. And we hope you enjoy this podcast. And we actually hope you're asleep at this point. But if you're not, thank you for listening. And we hope you were able to listen and sleep.